Hi, we are back with another episode of Lunch and Learn. I'm Brittany.
I'm Alex.
And we are still here munching on our lunch from a previous episode. Alex, what do you have?
I've got my carrots, guys, with some white rice and some shredded chicken. It's quite delicious. What about you?
Perfect. I am still eating my sad sandwich from earlier. It has an egg sandwich with turkey sausage, some cheese, and my 3 little pieces of mandarin orange that's still left over.
I mean, honestly, that's not a sad sandwich. I love anything with eggs on it.
Agreed. So we decided we are going to talk all about exercise. We hear it a lot from members, from clients. So what do we got?
All right. So first question. Do I need to work out to lose weight?
Great question. I think a lot of our clients come to us from their gym, so let's say like the vast majority of our people are doing some kind of fitness maybe, but you certainly don't have to. As a dietitian, it's like, I always advocate for movement. It is important to move your body. Let's take weight loss out of it, right? Like, let's completely put that on a shelf. There are loads of benefits to moving your body, whether that be swimming, biking, hiking, CrossFit, weightlifting, Orange Theory Fitness, like whatever you're into. I don't care. Like, just move your body. The heart health benefits, the mental health benefits, all of that. Do you need to work out to lose body fat? No. Hot take. No. Does it make it more efficient? Yes, certainly. Now, do you need to work out to change your body composition? Yes. Do you need to do some resistance training to change your body composition? Yes. But to just lose body fat, like if all you're wanting to do is change the number that you see on the scale in the morning, that's all a calorie equation and the amount of food and energy you take into your body. The amount of structured exercise that you do isn't as big of an part of the equation as the amount of energy through food that you're taking in. So,
yeah. And there's 2 things I want to talk about. 1, you said about resistance training, and 2, how you said about working out doesn't necessarily lead to losing body fat. I don't know why you came to WAG, but I came to WAG already working out a good bit. I was working out at least an hour every single day. I was in the gym. I was doing resistance training. But what wasn't happening? I wasn't, my body composition wasn't changing. I was actually holding on to some extra fat that I wanted to get rid of, and I couldn't. I was eating a, generally healthy diet. I was working out all the time, but that working out was not leading itself to fat loss. And so I came to working against gravity, and through working with my coach, we changed up my nutrition. And from that point on, I was starting to lose body fat. I actually started seeing that fat loss. I was fine, like that I had been chasing for years. I'm talking about years. And, so it just proves your point that you don't necessarily need to work out to lose weight. You could be working out and still not losing weight. So, as the age-old saying, abs are made in the kitchen. It's true. That's how you're going to shed some unwanted fat that you might have, hanging around. It's once you get your diet in control, then that is where you are going to see the most weight loss, fat loss, those type of things.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And so then you mentioned something about if I wanted to change my body composition, I needed to do resistant training. So you're telling me that I can't just do cardio and lose body fat?
Hitting
you with the hard ones. I can help you out on this one.
Yeah. Unfortunately for all the cardio lovers out there, it is, how's the saying go? Like, cardio will change the size of your body, but resistance training will change the shape of your body.
Oh,
Like,
yes, that's something
yeah.
I've used a lot. And, you have a good point there, that a lot of times what I hear from my clients is that we are at, like, someone will say, I want to look like X person, and they're looking at a, person like a celebrity or,
Oh my gosh.
a fitness influencer. But when you look at them, that fit that they're looking at is muscle tone. So
Hmm.
in order to have that muscle tone, there has to be that resistance training aspect in there. So only doing cardio is not necessarily going to change your body. There's also, I used to share this photo about a marathon runner versus a sprinter and how their body compositions looked completely different. Like, if you were
Hmm.
to imagine a marathoner, a lot of times they are very lean. They don't have a lot of muscle tone. It's because they're doing a ton of cardio, and that muscle is, just not necessarily needed to do that kind of
Hmm.
thing. And those aren't their goals. But a sprinter has that muscular look. They're doing just really short bursts of cardio, just a sprint. And they're
Yeah.
spending a lot of time working on power development, working on their strength to get off the block super fast. So that way they can sprint, they can run, they can win their races. So if you're looking for that muscular tone, looking for that fit look, then which when I think of fit, I think of like a muscular body, adding in that resistant training and dialing back the cardio probably will be your best bet.
Yeah. I mean, absolutely. Like, and they're always for your goals, and like, that's what I try to tell people, or like at least ask people, like, what are your goals? Like, what do
Mm-hmm.
you want to achieve? Like, and do what, you know, behooves you and your goals, what makes you feel your best. Um, that's the main takeaway with exercise too. All right. So talk to me about eating and calorie burn and exercise. Do I need to eat less on my rest days? And potentially, do I need to eat more on my workout days?
Okay, guys, here's your favorite answer. It depends. All right. But for the most of us, I'm going to say no. And the reason for that is that eating the same amount of food, regardless of if you're training for the day or if you're resting, is just going to help keep as many variables as consistent as possible. I don't know if you're working with a nutrition coach, or you might have heard something that I use pretty frequently is changing your body composition or losing weight is like a science experiment. You want to have as many variables constant as you possibly can, so that way you can then really determine what the outcome is. The outcome is weight loss, change in progress photos, changes in measurements, that type of thing. So if you're working out, if working out changes, your nutrition changes, your sleep changes, all these things on the same day, and then we're getting all of these different outcomes. The coach or even me cannot necessarily make the best decision on what to do moving forward. Plus, eating the same amount of food, even if you're training versus resting, is going to bring so many benefits. So, say, you train 5 days a week and there's those 2 days that you rest. Well, on those rest days, when you're eating the same amount of food, guess what's going to happen? Your glycogen stores are going to recover, which means that you're going to have enough energy the next time that you train to go out there to push hard. You're going to help balance out some hormonal levels like cortisol, things that do impact your body fat, how your muscles look, recovery. Eating enough is just going to generally give you enough nutrients to essentially help reduce injury, the risk of injury. So making sure that you're not always in some kind of deficit, whether that's through working out or through eating, is just going to help your body repair, recover, and then continue on. So that's what I would say my answer is that, do you need to eat less on a rest day? No. Do you need to eat more on a hard training day? No. But if you are working with a nutrition coach and you're noticing that you're having really hard training days more frequently, and you're not able to get through those not nutrition sessions, those training sessions without enough energy and things like that. That's where you need to vocalize with your coach or communicate with your coach, like, hey, I have increased my volume, I've increased my intensity, and it's becoming a regular thing, and I don't have enough energy in order to do these. Can we look at the entire week, and maybe change up my nutrition, change up the plan slightly, so that way I'm still reaching my goals, I still have the energy that I need, things like that. And so my best advice is just always be in communication with your nutrition coach if you're working with them. Pay attention to your body and just don't fear the need to eat.
Yeah, yeah. Something that I think I agree with all of that. And just to piggyback on it, it's try to think about the week as a whole. When you have a rest day, and you eat less on that rest day, you are then marching right into a training day in a deficit. And that oftentimes sets you up to then have that training day where you are super hungry and you're in a deficit that puts you prone to injury, puts you prone to being fatigued during that training day. And what I've seen happen more often than not are clients who then overeat on that training day because they walk into it in a deficit. So then they're overeating, and now we're in the cycle of, I overate, so I need to restrict the next day. And it's just this mess. And then also I've had a lot of people tell me, I'm hungrier on my rest days. And why that tends to happen is adrenaline suppresses hunger. Our adrenaline is high on training days often. So when we have this rest day, adrenaline chills out, and then, our hunger then creeps back up. And so it's time to eat, time to rest, refuel, eat, give your body what it needs.
Yeah, that's a great example of what I was talking about hormonal levels. Like hunger is a hormonal level, like being able to regulate those on those rest days by eating and things like that. So yeah, guys, don't fear eating on rest days. We're not working out to eat. We eat to work out, that type of thing.
Yeah, totally.
Okay. So on the topic of, eating on training days, do I need to work out to lose weight? What is there such a thing as too much exercise? Did we kind of already cover that? I don't think we did.
Yeah. I mean, this is a really loaded question. And the answer is yes, absolutely. Like 100%. There is such a thing as too much exercise. Now, where that line is going to vary from person to person. What is too much for Alex and what is too much for me is drastically different, right? We are two very different people. What is too much for me and what is too much for a woman that is my exact same demographic is going to be different. What I always like to think about is, what is the person's goals? Is someone's goal to run a half marathon? Let's just use that as an example. It seems to be like a goal for a lot of people. So if someone's goal is to run a half marathon and they're going so hard that they're setting themselves up for injury after injury after injury, then yeah, we're doing too much. On the other hand, if someone has just an overarching goal, which I say just an overarching goal, but I think this is the most profound goal there is. If the overarching goal is health and wellness, longevity, and they have a training plan of hey, we're going to CrossFit, or we're going to the Y, or whatever fitness classes that you're going to. But going to those classes and doing that fitness plan is putting a stressor on your family life or your, financial strain or whatever it could be that is causing distress in your life, then maybe that's too much. You have to kind of balance it all out to make sure that whatever you're doing with fitness is a positive. Too much exercise, can cause inflammation. Can cause inflammation. Can cause inflammation in your body, and increase in cortisol levels can, like I was talking about earlier, increase risk for injury. There's all sorts of things that can happen. If your goal is to lose body fat, the more we exercise, it increases our hunger, right? We need fuel to keep going. So there is a balance there to make sure that we're not exercising so much that now our hunger's through the roof, so we're wanting to eat, and then that's negating fat loss. So there's definitely a balance, and that's where working with a coach and working with someone who knows the ins and outs of this can really be beneficial. What do you do when you have a client who's just going hard, and it's too much?
So what I do is I try to be really honest with them. I ask them some hard questions like, hey, do you think that we actually need to be spending all these hours in the gym? And I actually try to bring it back and relate to them. So, what you mentioned about injury after injury, and then you're not able to train how you want to. I spent most of 2023 with some kind of injury. And the reason for that is because I was truly overtraining. I was getting back into the competition world of competing in CrossFit, and I was feeling pressured to get this skill and that skill. And I still wanted to do my weight training because I really liked bodybuilding, and so I was doing all of this stuff. And what happened is I had the most injuries I've ever had in my adult life during that year. And I really believe that's just due to working out too much. So I relate that back to them. I'm like, hey, I have kind of seen and experienced what can happen, not just personally, but through other individuals that, there is there's not really a return of investment the more that you do. You kind of have to find that least effective dose, or something like that, where, you do enough that is going to elicit the change that you're wanting, but you don't have to go too much into it. You're not having to spend hours and hours and hours, less is more. More of anything is not necessarily a good thing. So it's more about training smarter, not harder. So, working out hours and hours on end, like you said, might just be taking time away from your family, might be increasing your risk for injury. And so if you can dial that back and then make sure that your nutrition is in line with how much that you're working out, I think you're still going to get the results that you want without spending 20 hours in a gym every single week, or hitting the pavement for not hundreds, but a lot of miles, that type of thing every single week. So, I completely agree with you, is that there is such a thing as too much exercise, and just working with a coach can help you dial that in and really help you figure out what your body actually needs.
Totally. More is not better. Better is better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Totally. I like it.
Yep. All right. I think we could talk about exercise forever. We could do another one.
Obviously,
for sure.
Yeah. This is one of our longer talks, and I think that's just because exercise, there's so many, things to talk about with exercise, but I think we covered a lot of good things. And, guys, if you have any additional questions, if we didn't cover something, if something wasn't clear, just drop them in the comments below and we'd be happy to answer it. And as Brittany always says, if there is anything that you would like to know about nutrition that, you want to hear on these lunch and learns, please let us know, and we will gladly have lunch and teach you guys at the same time.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, guys. Thanks so much, and we'll see you next time.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Hey, everyone. If you liked what you saw, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to our channel to get more content on nutrition, health, and wellness. Thank you for watching.